Just in time for the new NASCAR season, it has become official. The first new updates for the new NASCAR console game that will be produced by iRacing and Monster Games has come out. And it's been reported by Mike Straw from Insider Gaming. Mike is a credible source, and I think that is a huge understatement, honestly. So I take all of this with face value. And it really goes to this to summarize it all. First off, NASCAR's new console game from iRacing will be developed with the Unreal Engine, with Monster Games leading the way. And Monster Games will be using the car models, track models, and assets from iRacing. They also will be able to get the most up-to-date track models from iRacing as well, especially if they get them brand new this year. And they also focused a lot of the interview on saying that the real focus of the game will be on the driving aspect and stress the importance of career mode. And while there's been no date given, the release will be sometime in 2025 still. Now, to kind of go more in depth on all of this, first off, looking at the fact that iRacing is developing this with the Unreal Engine. This may put some NASCAR fans a little bit on edge because, of course, this was the same engine used by Motorsport Games with NASCAR 21 Ignition, the worst NASCAR game ever. But I do want to say that when maximized with actual competent developers, or at least a competent company, they can maximize this to be a top-tier game. And I think that in a lot of ways, this will be a huge step forward, seeing how Monster Games and iRacing don't really, get lost per se, the way that it seemed Motorsports Games did. And so I would say that going at least off of this, it's a good first step to hear of as a fan. Also, with Monster Games using the iRacing car models, track models, and assets, this should be top of the line when it comes to NASCAR stuff. iRacing is literally used by NASCAR track owners and those building tracks like the LA Coliseum and others to test out. They can get the top of the line stuff if they need to, and I think that's what they're going to do. Plus, Monster Games made the SRX and World of Outlaws games, and those were very well received by both fans of those series and outsiders who were looking for a good racing game in the stead of horrible NASCAR games. So that's another positive, I think, early on. Good signs to start with. Also saying that they would have the best resources with up-to-date track models from iRacing, possibly being updated this year. That is something really good too, and they might be able to update it even after the game comes out as well. So, again, good stuff so far. The real focus being on the driving aspect, I think, is a given. The driving and just the games in general from the Heat days and Ignition were pretty piss poor or mediocre at best, and it's something that needs to be fixed if you're going to get people outside of diehard NASCAR fans to play this game. Yeah, I'll admit it, I played the Heat games. It's not because I really wanted to, it's because it was the only thing around as a NASCAR fan. But nobody I knew who would even play racing games would touch it because it wasn't that good. So having a basic thing like that ironed out even is a good first step past what the last decade or so of racing games for NASCAR has been. And they stress the importance of career mode. Again, a basic thing in a NASCAR and racing game that needs to be addressed. It hasn't necessarily been the worst in the last couple years, but when you look at what we had with the Thunder games and even the later EA games like NASCAR 06, there are some pretty good aspects of career modes, or at least partial season and career modes, that just do not get matched by new games, and in all honesty, aren't the greatest things ever, but still are serviceable, and that needs to be done. The scheduled release for 2025 at some point, I think that's good to see too. I would prefer it be before the season so we can have updated rosters throughout the year and new paint schemes. I don't know though, because NASCAR always seems to have their games released in the fall, which is probably just to get the chase at the time and playoffs really amped up with hype for fans, but I mean, that's the same as releasing Madden in Wild Card Weekend. You just don't do that. For me, there are some needs and some things to be addressed. The basic needs are solid driving, solid AI, and a solid career. These, again, should be basic things when it comes to a modern game and a modern NASCAR game. But with what we had before, that's how low the bar is. Honestly, if they just got these basic things, it'd be the first true upswing in NASCAR gaming in, honestly, decades. And that's kind of scary to say as a NASCAR fan. The last time I remember there being a NASCAR game that was generally loved would probably be Inside Line. Others got some love over the years, but Inside Line was probably the one that I remember getting the most praise. And if I'm not mistaken, when that game came out, I wasn't even in high school yet. I am in my late 20s now. That is insane for me to say that I've went pretty much half my life now since the last really good NASCAR game. So, again, it's basic, but with what we've been given, that's where the bar is now. And while I don't see any reason to worry yet, and between the people making it, the assets they have, and the hype behind it, as well as the reporting behind it, I still don't think there's any real reasons to worry yet. I want to stress to you guys who are the audience, the player base, who are going to be the ones who are most affected by this game, keep everybody honest. If there's people who are talking to you just in normal life that are excited, ask them why and what stuff. Don't be an asshole to them, but just ask why. Or if there's developers talking like this, make sure that you keep an open mind with it, because they are saying all the right things right now, but we need to see gameplay. We need to see the product before we can start really thinking of how good or bad it'll be. And especially keep YouTubers honest with it. Somebody like me, I would like to think would stay honest, but you never know if the rose-tinted glasses are just a little too rose-tinted. So if somebody is being a little too positive, ask why and bring up criticisms. Don't be, again, a jerk about it, but criticisms help improve these kind of games, and maybe they will be listening. It seems like so far they have. Keep everybody honest. I cannot stress that enough. Do not lower your bar the way a lot of people did during the Ignition days. And keep yourself honest too. That is probably the biggest thing. Now, from there, I want to pass this on to you and ask, what do you think of the new NASCAR game updates? These are the first updates. They're not going to be super in-depth, but what do you think about the general stuff we have now heard? Are you cautiously optimistic, really happy, or do you think you need to still be proven that this game will be good before you can say anything? Let me know down in the comments below. I can't wait to see what you say. And while you're at it, leave a like on this video, share this video, and be sure to subscribe to the channel for more great NASCAR and NASCAR gaming content. And also, if you want to see iRacing at its best, tune in tomorrow night on Idk Player's channel, where he and myself will be commentating the Darrington Woodworking Florida 500. It's going to be the best version of the Daytona 500 you see on iRacing. So, until then, have a good one.